Wisdom Owl here. What if the smallest changes you could possibly make turned out to be the most powerful ones? Not the gym memberships you never use, not the 5-hour morning routines you abandon by day 3. I'm talking about habits so tiny, so almost embarrassingly simple, that they barely feel like habits at all. And yet, over the past 2 years, 8 of these micro habits have quietly reshaped almost every area of my life in ways I genuinely did not see coming. I want to be upfront with you. None of what I'm about to share is extreme. None of it requires willpower you don't have or time you haven't got. But I promise you, if you implement even 2 or 3 of these consistently, you will start noticing a shift. A quiet one, the kind that sneaks up on you until one day you look back and realize you're not the same person you were 6 months ago. Let's get into it. The first micro habit is making your bed within 60 seconds of waking up. I know, you've heard this one before. But here's what nobody really explains about why it works. It's not about the bed, it's about the signal you send to your brain the moment you open your eyes. When you complete a physical task first thing in the morning, before your phone, before coffee, before anything else, you tell your nervous system that today is a day where you do things, you follow through. That single completed action creates what psychologists call a completion loop, and your brain actually rewards you with a small hit of dopamine. That tiny reward becomes the psychological fuel for the next task. The bed isn't the point. Momentum is the point. The second one took me an embarrassingly long time to adopt, and it's simply drinking a full glass of water before you consume anything else in the morning. Not after your coffee. Before. Your body has been without hydration for 7 or 8 hours. Your brain is roughly 75% water, and even mild dehydration measurably affects your concentration, your mood, and your decision-making ability. When I started doing this one thing, I noticed that my morning brain fog cleared faster. I made fewer impulsive decisions before noon. It sounds almost too simple to matter, but the effects compound over days and weeks in ways that are hard to ignore. Here's where it gets more interesting. Micro habit number 3 is what I call the 2-minute rule for dread tasks. You know that thing that's been sitting on your mental to-do list for 3 days? The email you haven't replied to, the form you haven't filled out, the awkward text you've been avoiding. If it takes less than 2 minutes to do, you do it immediately the moment you think of it. No scheduling, no planning, no putting it on a list. Just do it now. The reason this works so well is that most of the suffering we experience around small tasks isn't the task itself. It's the mental energy we spend thinking about the task, feeling guilty about not doing it, and then avoiding it again. When you eliminate that cycle, you recover enormous amounts of mental bandwidth that you didn't even realize you were wasting. Number 4 is taking one intentional, slow breath before responding to anything that triggers a strong emotional reaction. A frustrating message, a difficult conversation, a situation that makes your blood pressure spike. Before you respond, one slow, deliberate exhale. This is not meditation. This is not mindfulness in the way it's usually sold to you. This is basic nervous system regulation. When your brain perceives a threat or a stressor, it activates your fight or flight response. And in that state, your prefrontal cortex, the part responsible for rational thinking and good decisions, goes partially offline. That one breath buys your brain just enough time to get back online. Over months, this habit doesn't just change how you respond to individual moments. It fundamentally changes your reputation, your relationships, and your own self-perception. Let's pause here because I want to acknowledge something. If you're watching this and thinking these feel too small to matter, I understand that feeling completely. We've been conditioned to believe that meaningful change requires dramatic effort. But the science of behavior change consistently shows the opposite. Small actions, repeated consistently, rewire neural pathways in ways that large, unsustainable efforts never can. The drama isn't the point, the repetition is. Micro habit number 5 is ending every workday with a 3-item tomorrow list, not a full to-do list. Just 3 things. The 3 most important actions for the following day, written down before you shut your laptop. This does 2 things simultaneously. First, it gives your subconscious mind a clear set of targets to process overnight, which means you often wake up with ideas or clarity around those specific tasks. Second, it creates a clean psychological boundary between work time and rest time. Without that boundary, your brain never fully switches off, and you end up half working during your personal time and half resting during your work time, doing neither well. Number 6 is one I resisted for longer than I should have, and that's a no-phone rule for the first 30 minutes after waking up. I'm not asking you to throw your phone away or become a digital minimalist. I'm asking for 30 minutes. Here's the problem with checking your phone first thing. Every notification, every headline, every message pulls your attention into someone else's agenda before you've had a single moment to establish your own. Your brain is in a highly impressionable, almost hypnotic state in those first waking minutes. What you feed it during that window sets the emotional and cognitive tone for hours. When I protected that 30-minute window, my mornings became dramatically more intentional, and my anxiety levels before noon dropped in a way I didn't expect. Microhabit 7 is telling someone one specific thing you genuinely appreciate about them, once a day. Not a general compliment, something specific. Not, "you're great," but, "the way you explained that to me last week actually changed how I was thinking about the problem." Specificity is what makes appreciation land differently. It tells the other person that you actually paid attention, that they genuinely registered with you, and that kind of recognition activates real connection rather than polite social exchange. What surprised me about this habit wasn't how it affected the people I said it to, it was how it affected me. When you're actively looking for specific things to appreciate in the people around you, you start perceiving your environment differently. You become someone who notices good things. And that shift in perception has a way of changing your entire emotional baseline over time. And the eighth micro habit is perhaps the one that has had the deepest long-term impact, and it's simply reading one page of a book before bed. Just one page. That's the whole commitment. One page. Here's why this works even when you think you're too tired to read. The act of opening a book and reading even a single page replaces a screen-based activity, usually scrolling, with something that requires actual cognitive engagement without the artificial stimulation of social media feeds. Your brain begins to associate bedtime with reading rather than scrolling, which improves both sleep quality and the consistency of the habit itself. And practically speaking, one page almost never stays one page. Most nights you'll read 5 or 10, but by only committing to one, you eliminate the resistance that stops you from starting. Now here's what I want you to sit with for a moment. These 8 habits, taken together, look almost laughably small. Making your bed, drinking water, doing the 2-minute task, taking a breath, writing 3 things, leaving your phone alone, saying one specific kind thing, reading one page. If I listed these on a billboard and called them life-changing, you'd probably drive past without a second glance. But that's the entire point. Transformative habits don't announce themselves. They don't come with dramatic before and after photos or a moment of revelation. They accumulate quietly, below the threshold of what feels significant, until one day you realize that your relationships feel different, your mornings feel different, your thinking feels different, and you feel different. The version of you that shows up consistently for small commitments is the same version that eventually shows up for big ones. That's the real mechanism here. It's not that any one of these habits is magical in isolation. It's that each one trains the part of you that follows through, and that part of you is the foundation everything else is built on. If you're going to take one thing from this video, let it be this. Don't try to overhaul your life. Try to slightly improve your next hour, then the one after that. The transformation takes care of itself. If any of these resonated with you, drop a comment and tell me which one you're starting with. I genuinely read every single one, and if you want more on building a life that actually feels like yours, the next video is already waiting for you.